Welcome, Hope Church, to my gym slash living room slash playground slash office. I'm really excited to have you here. We're going to go through 5 exercises with you right now that I think are going to be really helpful wherever you are in your health, fitness journey. So let's go ahead and dive right into those workouts. So exercise number 1 is going to be a squat, okay? It's what we're going to do is have our feet underneath us. So look down, right? Sounds simple. Look down and your feet underneath you. Great. You're off to a good start. All right. Now, just walk your feet sort of in place, right? And let them get just right underneath your shoulders. You should feel nice and stable. Okay. From this point, all we're going to try to do is keep our knees and toes pointed in the same direction. Okay. For example, I don't want my knees going out if my toes are pointed forward. And I don't want my knees going in if my toes are pointed forward. Same thing, I don't want my toes to go out if my knees are going straight. And I don't want my toes to point in if my knees are also pointed straight. So, knees and toes pointed forward. All right, are we there? Knees and toes pointed forward. From there, it's pretty simple. We're going to work on just bending at the hips. So I'm going to push my hips back behind me. Notice that little movement right here. I don't go straight down. Don't go just straight down and drop. Kind of get the hips back and sit as if there's a chair behind you. I'm going to sit down in that chair. All right? And that's our squat. So that's exercise number 1. Now, my goal today is to show you lots of modifications so you can either make that more difficult or make that more easy, more doable for you. Okay? So that's our basic squat. All right, if we're looking for more of a challenge outside of adding weight, what you can do is work on your depth, getting lower, but do not sacrifice the form in your back. So I pushed back. Notice my back is flat. So what I'm going to do is work on keeping the back flat and trying to sit lower and lower into that without curving, right? Did you see that? The hips drop. Once you're there, you've gone too far, right? You don't have the mobility yet to get to that depth. All right, now if you need to make it easier, grab a chair, start working on doing the squat from the chair. All right, so I'm gonna sit in this chair. I'm gonna get into that same position. I'm gonna put my weight on my feet, balance in my feet. I'm gonna push down through my whole foot, not my toes, not my heels, my whole foot. I'm gonna push down and try to stand up. And I'm just gonna come back down nice and slow until I sit. All right? That's all there is to it. All right? Going from that seated position, again, I get that lean forward, so I push down to my feet and push. Watch that your back is flat. If you need to do this with somebody watching you so that they can see you don't get here and you have to curve to get up, we want to stay tall and push. Push the feet into the ground, stand up, keeping your back flat. If the chair still is too difficult, find something to make it higher. All right? You can grab a pillow, you can grab something to where you don't have to go quite so low. Here we go, from this position and up. Hips go back, I'm resting now, right? And I go back up. So there's your modifications on the squat. You can make it easier or harder just following those 2 things. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move down to the floor for a few exercises. All right, I'm going to get a better camera angle for you. All right, so what we're going to do, I got a mat here. I'm going to lay down on my stomach. We're going to do some push-ups, okay? So I'm going to take you through a basic push-up, right, from the full extension. Hands on the ground, toes on the ground. All right, what I'm looking for is I find my chest, right? My chest line right here, and I'm gonna put my thumbs right outside the middle of my chest. So I got my thumbs right outside the middle of my chest. They should be underneath my elbows. No shrugging. Pull your shoulders down, eyes down at the ground. Pull the abs tight, 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 right? And then all together, everything should move at the exact same time. Don't go butt first, don't go chest first, right? Everything together at the exact same time. All right, and we're going to drop down nice and slow. Don't go to the floor. and push. All right, there we go. So that's our push-up, right? I want you to focus on the upper body part of that, where our hands are right outside the chest, hands underneath the elbows, no shrugging, and everything moves together. Now that you got the basics of the push-up, we can modify, right? We can make it easier, we can make it harder, okay? So we're gonna go with harder first. You do those push-ups and you're like, Josh, man, I crushed those push-ups. What's next? All right, let's take that same chair. All we're gonna do is put our feet at an elevated position. All right, I'm gonna take my feet up and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Notice where my hands are, my elbows, all in line, no shrugging. Drop it down nice and slow and push. Down and push. All right, so now we're gonna modify the other direction. What do I do, right? I'm not ready to do a full length push-up yet. What can I do? So I'm gonna go down to the floor. All I'm gonna do, the exact same thing, nothing changes other than, right, your pivot point. Instead of pivoting on your toes, you're gonna pick up and you're gonna pivot on your knees. Very important here, everything still moves all together. The common mistake here is the hips stay up and I drop only my chest. Everything needs to pivot on the knees. Down and up, all together. Got it? Still need more modifications? That's fine, right? We can continue to make that doable for you. What I want you to do is just elevate your upper body, all right? I'll take a chair, again, as an example, because I have it. A good in-home resource would be the couch. You can take your hands up to the edge of the couch. You can take it to the high side. The higher your upper body gets, the easier the push-up becomes. So hands on the chair now, directly under my elbows, drop and push. That's much easier than doing it on the floor. Again, I can take it to the high side. If you're gonna do it on the high side, you're gonna wanna push it up against the wall so it doesn't slip out from under you. All the way up until, even if you're doing it on the wall, okay, you can go up to the wall and do your push-up on the wall, and it can still, for some people, that's challenging. And that's all that I'm asking right now, is that you pick a range that's gonna be challenging for you. Okay, let's keep moving forward. Exercise number 3 is gonna be a glute bridge, all right? So you're gonna lay down flat on your back. So we worked on the squat pattern, right, where we're squatting up and down. Now we're gonna work on a hinge pattern. We wanna hinge the hips, okay? So here's what this looks like. I'm gonna go right here, I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. I'm gonna pick my toes up, so I push like I'm trying to dig my heels into the ground. All I'm gonna do is really squeeze my bottom, all right? I'm gonna squeeze my bottom and lift it off the ground, all right? What I'm not doing is pushing with my lower back to get my belly button up. That's what I'm not doing. What I am doing is squeezing my bottom to get my hips up. It's all about the hips, the glutes. You should feel a tight squeeze in your glutes. That's your bottom. And then bring it back down. Got it? So squeeze up and down. Very good. All right. Looking for a way to make that more challenging, right? All we got to do is take one leg out of it. Now you almost double the body weight onto one leg. So all I'm going to do is go back into that position, one leg up and lift, right? Nothing changes. Still focusing on my glutes, but now it's only one side. Squeeze, right? Same thing on the other side. I'm going to squeeze right here. Squeeze that back side, right? That's if you want to make it more challenging. Start with the regular glute bridge. Start there. That's going to be one of the most basic hinge exercises you can do. So start with that one before moving on to single leg. All right. So what we're going to do now is go to another exercise called dead bug, where we start working what we call contralateral, okay? All that means is I'm using opposite sides. So I'm going to go up just like this. I'm going to lay here, kind of look like a dead bug laying on the ground, right? I got my both knees up at a 90-degree angle here. I got both hands straight up over my shoulders. Again, I'm not shrugging. Both hands straight up. And I'm going to take my left leg in my right hand, and I'm going to reach away and come right back. Got it? I'm going to reach away and come right back. That's all it is. I'll switch sides now. All right, you do a set that way, then you do the other side. Right leg, left hand. Reach away and come right back. Now here's a few key things before we get into the modifiers. I want you to practice doing that. Do not let the hips move and do not let your back move. They should all stay flat on the floor. Master that before you progress this one. Master getting here without your hips, right? When I say hips, I mean your pelvis, this whole pelvis right here. We don't want it to rock forward and lift the lower back up off the ground. We want to stay flat and get extended, all right? If you're having trouble with that, then we modify. Here's your modification on this one. Right here, all I'm going to do is instead of extending my leg, I'm just going to drop it, all right? So I'm going to take my hand back and I'm just going to drop, right? Now I shorten that lever. It's not as difficult to keep my back flat. Get extended, right? Right here. Keep doing that until finally, over some time, might take you a few days, might take you a few weeks, but you get to going full extension without sacrificing back health. All right. To progress that, to make it more difficult, all we do is just start alternating. Instead of doing a whole set, all one side, we're going to switch every time. Right? And that's going to make it one step more difficult. Okay? All right. The last exercise. I know I'm moving fast. I want to get through these so you at least have the exercises, and then you can fast forward, replay as much as you need to master these at all different levels. So the last one is going to be a full plank. All right? One you probably have seen. You've either done it or you've seen somebody doing it or you've heard about it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go hands and toes on the ground. It's really the top of the push-up. All right? I'm just getting a high push-up position. So I'm going to go hands on the ground. The wrist should be directly under my shoulders. Really be mindful of that, right? We see a lot of people get the hands out in front or they get out behind and they're falling and they're hurting their wrists, right? Keep the hands underneath your shoulders. You can go flat hands or you can go fists. Either way I'm okay with. So we're going to go hands here and toes on the ground, right? Notice where my hips are. Notice where this hip is. It is directly between my shoulder and my ankles. That's where I want to keep it. Don't want to start getting high, right? Now I start looking like a rooftop. I want to be a tabletop right here, right? Don't let it start sinking. Now we turn into a valley, right? Keep those even, right between the shoulders and the ankles. If we're doing this right, there should be no lower back pain. You should feel tension through your abs. Your shoulders should get pretty tired. And that's our basic full plank. So you want to know how do we make that more difficult, right? The next step up is just going down to your elbows. You've probably also heard or seen somebody doing that. So I'm going down on my elbows. The exact same thing. Still want to check that my elbows are underneath my abs or underneath my shoulders. Tighten up those abs, right? Don't let those go relaxed. All right, you got to tighten up the abs. We have to have core function to be able to do a plank properly. So right here, I'm going to bring my toes underneath. And I'm going to lift. Again, I've got that tabletop. And I'm mindful of dropping down. And I'm mindful of, am I sticking up? I want to stay right in the middle. I'm also watching, okay, am I starting my shrug? Are my shoulders going to my ears? Pull them back. Get them down like you're trying to take your shoulder blades to your back pockets. And we're just going to hold that. It's a holding exercise. It's called isometric, right? It's just holding that tension. All right, so we make that easier the exact same way you do it with push-ups. All right, take it to the chair, right? You want to make it easier? Put your hands up on the chair. When I go here, now all of a sudden I've got a shorter lever. It puts less stress on the abs, so it's not as difficult. Less stress on the shoulders and the wrists, all around. You need to keep going up higher and higher, right? If you need to go too high and you just start having so much trouble with it, I'm going to show you what to do next. So the last part of that plank, if you just are not getting a plank, the back hurts. You can't stand your shoulders for more than 10 seconds, right? whatever's going on, we still want to start training the abs to activate, right? We want the core, we want this whole midsection to tighten up, right? We use the word activate. We want it to turn on, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to lay down on the floor, all right? And all I'm going to really focus on, sometimes I even like to curl my mat up. You can get a towel, and you just want to put it right underneath your lower back, right? Right underneath your belly button. And I'm just going to lay here, and I'm going to practice pressing down, pressing my back into the mat. And I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever you can handle. Feel the abs, activate, tighten up, and then relax. There's nothing else you have to do, right? This is for those of you who are trying the plank and you can't get past 10 seconds and it's just hurting and it's already frustrating you. Don't get frustrated. We just got to train these abs to kick in and start working a little bit, okay? So we do that right here through this core activation exercise. Pull the abs down, press the back flat on the floor, feel that tension here, hold and relax, all right? That's your modification if you need to take that route, okay? So there you have it. That's it. Those 5 exercises. Go through those as a circuit, right? Rewatch this, write them down. I'll recap it real quick. All right, so we've got squats, we've got push-ups, glute bridges, that dead bug, and a full plank, all right? So that's what I want you to do. Take those 5 exercises, run through them as a circuit, right? If that doesn't leave you too winded, then add a cardio component to the top of it where you go through a 30-second sprint exercise. Maybe it's outside running. You run 15 seconds down the road, 15 seconds back as fast as you can. Or maybe you're inside because it's cold outside and you're doing jumping jacks for 30 seconds. Add in some kind of just constant movement-based exercise to the top of this, and you're going to be golden. You'll be good to go. So practice going with these. Start every exercise with 10 reps. The timed ones do for 10 seconds. All right, start with that. All right, start with 10 seconds for everything, 30 seconds for your cardio component. Watch this on replay so you can kind of get an idea of how to modify inside the workout. Okay, so you don't have to take too long to figure it out as you go. I'm super excited for you. Good luck with whatever your goals are. I hope this has been helpful and beneficial to you. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.